Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for the final game of the evening. Of course, this a knockout game as well. And you progress through Championship Sunday tomorrow, where you can fight for a championship and, of course, more CDL points. It's Benson, it's Chanson. Joining us is Rich. Rich, I feel like I haven't got to speak COD with you in so long. I was so happy I got to speak to Nameless a series ago, and now you're here as well. It has been 2 years. 2 whole years. I've avoided exactly this, man. I'm kidding. I love what you're wearing today, which makes a delightful change. You look great, Rich. Good to see quarantine is doing well for you. But to move the conversation, let's talk all things Call of Duty. Of course, yesterday we saw this series. Yesterday, New York Subliners shocked everyone. They beat the Chicago Huntsmen. Rich, does it happen again? Is it going to be deja vu?
I think that one of the exciting things that's going on right now is we're starting to see a lot of the matchups that we need to see to prove what teams can do that have made changes, right? We need to see the rematch of this for the Subliners, even with the Surge as well. Finally, we're going to see a matchup for them a little bit later on where we actually get to see, okay, we get that you invested in Gorilla Coins. We get that you can farm one team in the league and manage to just scrape by and continue to actually be somewhat legitimate force, but let's throw them against a real team, see what they're able to do. And I feel the same way with the New York squad. I just want to get more information on them. I want to see them play more, because since we've seen Mac added to the roster, all of a sudden it seems like he's the player that's just woken every other player up.
Giving them a life force, if you will. But we'll take a look at our game fuel keys to victory. Chance for New York, what stands out to you?
Well, I would say New York, again, they just have to keep up what they did yesterday, right? You have the pick and bans potentially in your favor because you just bullied out the Huntsmen yesterday. So if you get the map repeats, you're confident because you just beat them. If you play on different maps, you just say, hey, this is not what they wanted originally against us. So I think the Subliners, again, just sort of keep it up. And to sort of tie it off of Rich's point as well, I'm not as convinced for Seattle, right? Obviously, they farm their Gorilla Coins. That's a great phrase, by the way. And they have the opportunity to prove, like, tomorrow how good they actually are. For me, the New York Subliners, I'm at least halfway sold. Like, clearly they're a good team. Clearly they made, like, improvements. I don't think there's any argument there. The next step is now proving that you are one of the best teams in the world at the tippy top. And, again, they've played against FaZe, took them to a Game 5. They've already beaten the Huntsmen once. If you beat them a second time, that's a really good case for being in the top.
And then, of course, for the Chicago Huntsmen, just continue the creativity in search, and rotations are key when playing together on the map. Shout out to Nameless for the game fuel keys to victory. But we'll take a look, of course, at our quick scope as well, presented by the U.S. Air Force. And I'm excited for this series. I really am. And for me, I feel like this is Game 5 written all over it. And I don't know which way to lean. Rich, I know obviously we saw New York win yesterday, and you're kind of saying, well, yes, potential redemption here for Chicago. But if you had to pick, who wins this final game of the night?
I actually do think that I agree this is Game 5 written all over it, but I think the Huntsmen do come out on top this time. I think they've had the opportunity to work on a few things that seem to be plaguing them yesterday, and we saw that just a little bit earlier on. And also, I think that for the first time ever since the inception of the CDL, Envoy looked like he had an off day.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that's the case today. And I'm expecting him to just pop off, and I think that might be a big enough roadblock to make it look a little bit more difficult.
Fantastic. There, of course, a quick glance at our maps and modes. Chance, anything jump out to you there?
Well, Ben, you know how I live in like the 1980s and I don't have a 2-monitor setup?
Nice, dude.
Yeah, I can't see the maps. I have no idea. Like, I'll see them when they're there. I just, I'm not allowed to, like, cheat. I'm not technologically advanced.
All right.
You saw this yesterday. I know nothing.
All right, Chance,
And I'm not going to BS my way through it. Actually, no. Dude, that Gunrunner hardpoint first map, it's going to be on fire. We saw Envoy didn't have a great start yesterday, as Rich pointed out, on this exact map. But as he called out, Envoy's going to turn around, and MacMelt's not going to have enough production to keep up on that Gunrunner map 1.
Fine. Rich,
am I right?
Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you. I look forward to hearing more insight from you later on in the tournament. But Chance, for us, we can get this game underway. Of course, map number 1 already, it seems. New York Subliners with a little bit of time. Nothing, though, for Chicago to worry about. Of course, to look to try and break through and secure those points for P2.
And Ben, I'm going to do this unprompted. I know normally the sort of thing is making sure that you ask for predictions, whatever it's going to be, instead of just offering them up. I'm making my prediction. I'm going to offer it up. it is written in my contract I am not allowed to agree with Rich Campbell, so I'm saying the Subliners are going to win it.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, they won yesterday. Of course, it goes all the way to a game 5. We will wait and see. I'm really excited to be casting over Mac for the very first time. Yesterday, he massively impressed me. I'll look for something similar here today, though. Trying to make a name for himself in the CDL. We talk about path to pro. So often we talk about how difficult it can be to break through. But he's done a good job so far. Certainly a day of official games under his belt. But another big performance here against the Chicago Huntsmen. And, I mean, you're going the right direction.
Big performance, and again, this is a big hill for them to really step it up on. Obviously, you got accuracy. He's watching the left wing of the hill, and he's able to find a couple. Immediately back to help his teammates out in the hard point, who frankly, at the moment, didn't need it. He did give up that left flank, though, so he gets chopped down by Formal, and now it looks like the Huntsmen are inside for at least the contest.
Slides on in. He'll find himself two attached there for the trades, and it's the New York Subliners that break through and look good. Try and build themselves a little bit of a lead if they can find the final play, which was Envoy. Nice stuff from Temp. 20 seconds remain, and again, Chicago Huntsmen looking to put the pressure on. This time it's RC's up top, but Zuma from the side door. There's 2, there's 3 for the Italian Stallion. Nicely played as New York will have themselves around about a 30-ish lead, but in terms of rotation, Chicago already there.
And so, all right, obviously all the casters are friends with like JP and Revan from in the past because we've all worked with them. I've been hearing from those guys all year about one, their team is so much better online than what they've ever performed on land. They just like couldn't find it together. Obviously, we see the roster swap, and I've also heard about how good Zuma actually is at this game. I feel like we've caught glimpses of him when he's like full on willing to shine, but he picked up that 3-piece right there. I had flashbacks to him dropping like 38 yesterday, and I'm like, I think it might be Zuma's time, and I think he might finally be here.
I feel like he's the sort of player that's just going to grow into the year. You know what I mean? Like, he showed glimpses at the very beginning, but then he also showed you, I think it was like an 0-7 performance on a Piccadilly Search and Destroy as well. So you never really knew what you were going to get. Again, we talked about consistency with teams, but consistency with players is also so important. And Zuma often towards the end of the year kind of finds that stride. I mean, he started off here 9-5. He gets himself a 3-piece, of course, back in B2. It's a great start from him. And more importantly, a great start from the New York Subliners. Unfortunately, though, for them, they won't have a lead really to show for it. As we rotate now over towards P4, the Huntsmen with a 3-point lead.
I forgot about this, but you bring up the donut he dropped on Piccadilly. This does not count like the past two like home series that we've had. I just haven't double checked it, but at least before like the whole coronavirus thing really kicked off, there had been 5 total donuts dropped in the CDL. Zuma had 2 of them, which is awful, but he still had a higher S&D KD than like 14 other players.
That's actually nuts.
that just cracked me up.
And for those maybe newer viewers for the Call of Duty League, Zuma historically, I mean, he came from a search and destroy background. You really think Zuma, most people think of Zuma flanks. It almost became a trademark at the end of post and throughout Advanced Warfare. You always knew what he was going to do, but he'd still kill you anyway. He's a fantastic search player, and he seems to at least be finding a bit of a stride again. You look for that consistency, though, and you look for him, you know, a championship caliber player to start getting those big performances against the big teams. And Chicago Huntsmen's proven already this year, one of the big boys, as they have themselves now, again, around about a 20-point lead. Really, both teams struggling to pull away.
And right now, this is just a bit of a hefty SMG battle. Really, whichever team has won the hill break. The SMGs have been on point right now. New York Subliners lighting the feed up. Temp able to find a couple attached for a little bit of the follow-up, but just look at how far the Huntsmen are spawning away. There's 40 seconds left on this hard point. They haven't yet broken through tracks.
Struggling for now, for sure. You expect that break to come through shortly, unless Temp can hit a nice pinch here, which he may be thinking about. We still have accuracy inside the hill. He's more than happy to sit and milk up some hill time. Most on the team for now, 36 seconds. Everyone pulling their weight in the slaying category as finally Chicago break through, but they still have to break through accuracy. That top-heady teammate watching the back. That is a fantastic hill and a fantastic hold out of New York.
And that is the accuracy special. He will be happy to sit inside the hill and L trigger whatever he needs to and just sort of hang out and rack up the time. And of course, that puts a little bit of pressure on his teammates. They obviously have to have good production to make that effective. And so far, so good. You got Mac and Temp, 18 kills apiece. Again, the SMGs outclassing the Huntsmen, at least for the moment. Obviously, very early on in the game. Just one set of rotations through.
About Temp, it's never really been about, you know, how talented he is. You know, he has so much talent. Of course, for the championship, for me, it's about remaining cool, calm, and collected. I always look back to London, for example, when they were 2-0 up against Illinois Ravens, and of course that series goes to Game 5. For me, I just want to see Temp just be calm and composed. Talk all the trash you want at the end of a series once you get the win. But it's hot starts exactly like this, which he's become pretty known for, as New York Subliners with the lead, 125-83. This is now where, for me, Chance, I started looking at the Chicago Huntsmen and say, all right, who needs to turn things around? Who's having that kind of a slow game? And next time the stats come up, we'll take a look. We'll digest exactly what might be going wrong for Chicago Huntsmen. Obviously, you mentioned the subs. Currently, the aggression from New York Subliners working out in their favor. But for Chicago, they need to turn things around. Otherwise, they could be 1-0 down in this series.
I'm not there yet. Obviously, being down by 50 isn't a good spot, but you're going into hell on P2 where you expect them to get, what, at least 35, 40 seconds, if not even more. So they don't necessarily need to, like, rapid fire turn that game around. Just one solid hold here, one good rotation there. They'll be good to go. Now you got Formal posted up inside with the M4, able to find 2 kills, and maybe he can be that guy to start turning things around.
You heard Rich mention Envoy with a slow performance yesterday. It's another slow start for him here, 11-19, not having a lot of success. On the other side, Mac Contempt still keeping up that slaying pace, 23-16, 22-13 between the two of them, and kill feed all white. New York, they break through, and that is worst case for Chicago Huntsmen.
Remember that time I said, oh, the Huntsmen will get 35? Yeah, okay, so that obviously didn't happen, and now we are to the point where you need the rapid fire turnaround for everyone to start kicking it up, because really you have 2 players that are even, which is nice, I guess. Everyone else just massively negative, and again, it has been Mac feasting on the Huntsmen, which is not a sentence I would have ever expected to say at the start of this year.
Either way, that's what we have on our hands here. There's about a 70-point lead has developed for the New York Subliners. Now, as you head over towards P3, this is a crucial hold for Chicago Huntsmen just to keep this game close. Another quick break from New York, and Huntsmen are going to be in big trouble. Tatch is thinking about trying to hit the pinch at the perfect time. He'll find Envoy. There's 2 players from Chicago lying down in the hill. There's 2, almost found 3. Player weak. Mac looking for the trade. He slides in. Gunless falls. And with 30 seconds, New York are inside the hill.
And this is so, like, it's so interesting and potentially incredible, the story we have for Mac. Like, how many players do we have, like, occasionally it happens, come onto the scene and look good right off the rip? Because, I mean, he got fed to the Wolves. Like, it's nice, I guess, for him that it's like the online format, but you get Huntsman, FaZe, Huntsman in order for your first 3 series you have to show up for, and he looks good. Yeah. Like, even on the Guerrillas, like, yes, like, you have Vivid who has moments, and Spart, they have moments where they do look good as a player, but they're, like, just not getting wins. You have a guy coming on the Subliners roster, replacing one of the best European players of all time, and he's making his team look so much better than they were before. Your stock goes from not 0, but very low, and you're just skyrocketing it as a player.
Quite often when you speak to players who make team changes, sometimes a player can come in with the same talent as someone else, but it just improves the morale of the team, or as I'm sure everyone in the Call of Duty community knows, the vibe of the team, right? That's what sometimes a team change can do. It's why so often it's easy to kind of forget the players' emotions, if you will, throughout the season. But again, it is still the New York Subliners with the lead, 186-157. Huntsmen fighting back, still 20 seconds of hill time, and this is massive time for them. They're able to get it and break through to the final hill relatively quickly and could turn the tide of this game.
And for all the gas potentially we're giving to the Subliners, of course, the Huntsmen, they have many a comebacks in hardpoint, not just in this game, but of course in their career as well. So that lead has been cut by quite a bit. Now, though, you got the spot. We know that the Subliners love to have a player up top. Envoy can't quite deal with it, but this is the hill for the Huntsmen. They got destroyed on last time around. They need a break here at Envoy, trying to be that guy, but he gets chopped.
You're getting a couple of kills, and contest does come through. Can the Huntsmen win the fights? No. Zuma shuts it down. Another 3-piece for him. Gunless Arcities both will fall. New York looking to hold. Of course, they cannot win it here, but for Huntsmen, they need to break through. They're going to know that. Unfortunately, a team kill comes through for New York, so Temp is going to be left trying to defend the front door of the hill. Huntsmen are going to push it, and he knows it.
A team kill, though, coming in from the Huntsmen. That's going to just stop them in their tracks just about. It makes Tem's job so much easier, to the point where he's kind of bored, waiting for the players to finally come through the door. And as soon as it happens, he's able to take down at least one. And no, his teammates are not quite there for the trade. So, yeah, what, 14 seconds of scrap time to the Huntsmen. We're going to have about a 30-point lead for the Subliners, who have a decent setup over towards the new hill.
21 to 189. Huntsmen back against the wall. Now you need to click into a different gear. You're obviously going to worry about the spawns for P2, but more importantly, you've got to make sure you do not give New York 29 points of their own. So the contests are going to have to come through into New York to solidify the spawn. If you can get maybe 10, 15 seconds of hill time, that is absolutely great. Just want to make sure you really shut down any potential comeback as Envoy's actually let one player sneak straight through. He should spot the cross there on Temp. He's going to shoot him. Is he going to play for the spawn straight away? He knew accuracy was up top. Now, of course, Envoy looking to play for the spawns. There's no one on side this hill, by the way.
Yeah, it's almost a game of trying to like keep away, to try to make sure the subliners just don't have any pressure on the right side, but no me gusta for that situation. And now the Huntsmen aren't even trying to get pressure inside this hill. That is not their win condition. They have to make sure they break through and try to get the spawns.
This is it. This is really the moment they have to just fly straight forward, unfortunately. I don't think there's going to be many players close enough. The scrap time is essentially irrelevant. No one really picks up any time whatsoever, but it's New York with the favorable spawn. If they can kill maybe one wave of Huntsman players, that should be GG map number 1. Actually, of course, just realizing, playing it smart. I just need to stay alive. They have to push. And once they do, it should be 3 kills for accuracy. There's 1, there's 2. Envoy could be number 3 as he looks towards the front door. The contest has to come through. Finally, it does, but accuracy finds the final kill. As you look at the minimap, there's maybe time for one final contest to come through, but the nades are there. The stack comes through, and that is GG map number 1. New York Subliners take it 250 to 195.
And almost prophetic, right? Talking about Envoy, potentially slow start on Gunrunner, and just the SMGs outclassing, genuinely just outclassing, at least on this map, Chicago Huntsmen. Surprising, to say the least. And Ben, you know what's more surprising? Did you see how many kills Mac Melt's got?
He went 45 and
45! 30. It would have been a record 2 days ago, or at least a tie. He would have been tied with Scump, and now, of course, well, Simp the lone man just sitting on top with like 49. But nonetheless, 45, an absurd number for the new man on the roster for his, what, 3rd professional series of his career.
Yep.
It's you know, it's fairly impressive, Ben. Fairly impressive.
It's really impressive. Let's not kind of beat around the bush. I mean, a great performance from him, 45 and 13, 9 defends and almost a minute of hill time. And I mean, that overall leads his team to victory. 250, 195. Again, the score there to the New York Subliners. They go up in the series 1-0. And this is where I think a lot of people worry for the Chicago Huntsmen, right? What is it going to be that causes the implosion, if you will, of this squad? And you worry it could be a series just like this, not making it to Sunday, their own weekend. It could be bad news.
I will not buy into that storyline.
Not yet.
I've seen like a couple blurbs about it, but like they're 10 and 3 overall, something like that. Clearly at the top of the game. Like, you have a moment in the year where other teams obviously are going to get better, start to catch up, and now it just gets a little bit more competitive. I'm not saying they won't implode. I can't predict them or their personalities, whatever. But in my mind, there is absolutely no reason they should. They should not hit that red button unless they start getting obliterated for the next like 2 tournaments, whatever it's going to be. They're still a very good team. I will not bite on this. Not yet.
They're a great team. Absolutely. But from speaking to RCs earlier in the week, man, and just the general feel that this team have, I mean, they feel like they should be winning every single weekend. I mean, RC said there's no team that should be beating them. They feel like on paper they are the most talented squad, yet they find themselves struggling to close out weekends, which is never really the goal. And I mean, not making it to Sunday, I think that was the conversation myself, Miles, and Phil had when we were talking about, all right, what would need to happen for, you know, worst case scenario, this team to consider a team change? Because we've seen a lot of team changes now throughout the league. And I kind of said, well, I don't really expect it. I think worst case would be not making it to Sunday. Now, as they go up against the New York Subliners, that could become a reality. Of course, not saying that they would make a change. Again, I think this team is absolutely fantastic. I think the problem, though, is every single player on that roster wants to win. And that is the #1 driving factor for them, is just they hate losing. It's almost as if they hate losing more than they enjoy winning, if you will. As we take a look at our play of the game presented by Scuffed Gaming, accuracy will claim net from the New York Subliners, as they, of course, have 1-0 up in the series chance.
I'll take a guess and assume that the play of the game is just towards the end where he's posted up in the hill and gets like 3 or 4 down the stretch, something like that. But regardless, just to touch on the Chicago Huntsmen storyline, like, every team at this point of the year has begun reevaluating and try to figure out how to bump their game up to that next level, right? Even the 2 best teams in the world. We saw Chicago making the role swap 2 weeks ago. Even FaZe now are thinking about role swaps as well. Every team just about is starting to catch up and look a little bit better. New York Subliners, absolutely the perfect example of that. So the middle of the pack and the bottom of the pack starting to get closer to the top. It just means the guys at the top have to reevaluate their gameplay. I don't think it means you hit the red button and start making roster swaps, because, like, who the hell do you pick up to replace someone on the Huntsman, like, to begin with?
The first question is,
like,
right? I mean, you're looking at
right, like, RCD's is correct. You have, well, maybe not 100% correct. There's one or two other teams that might be able to compete with in talent, but absolutely the Huntsmen are definitely towards the top of that list, if not on top. You don't make a roster change for that. You reevaluate your gameplay. That's all you do. Make an evaluation, figure out where the improvements need to be made, or if at all, because they only lost that one series yesterday, they could come around where they have been great search and destroy the Subliners here on Arc Lob, get their revenge eventually, and then win the tournament, and then this is a pointless conversation.
But for now, it's relevant. Is there?
But for now, who cares? Let's do it.
Series, we go to game 2. It's search and destroy. Of course,
hit the red button. They lost a hard point, dude. Drop them all.
So we'll start off on board with Attach Sniper in hand. No look for him. Emperor's rep the push through, and we'll find Envoy. He's also doing well just to stay alive for this round. Of course, I don't mean it's over just yet. A couple more kills for Chicago Huntsmen, and of course, as you can see, the bomb actually made its way to the other side, and there's a player from Chicago right around the corner. I think it's actually up top. We may have to have that gunfight sooner rather than later.
It's an interesting setup for the Huntsmen as well. They put so much pressure over towards the other side of the map. They're going to have a double flank through mid-map. Formal patiently waiting for a player to come up top, and Zuma, well, doesn't need to be the victim. He has no reason to move.
Comes the push. Almost full. Zuma just tucks himself into a little corner there. He'll find the pick, and now as the players from Huntsman flip through the front door, Mac will find one, leaves gunless in a 1v2. Zuma finds the final pick. New York continue where they left off in the hard point. Home win round number 1. Pressure now on Chicago Huntsman to respond in round 2.
And we saw how the round played out, and Zoom is able to get 3 kills, so it's very easy to criticize in hindsight. But the biggest moment of that is Formal's up top as these players are encroaching on the site, and he just gives up the top control. He's waiting for a player to come and push him up top, or someone to, like, jump in the window, which never happened. He allowed Zuma to get in the perfect spot right behind the door where he can then cover the steps and be in the best power position to check the bomb. You give up the positioning, Zuma takes full advantage, gets 3 kills.
For him, as now we go over to the Huntsmen on their attack. Will be attached full for first blood, and it's Arstees with the sniper rifle that will find the pick. Meanwhile, his teammates mid-map having a lot of success. Envoy finds Zuma as well. So now 5v3. Huntsmen look good to tie this up.
And another nice strat coming out of the Huntsmen, and they're going to be decisive as well, as accuracy spots one out. And frankly, accuracy doing the smart thing. Smelled out the rotation immediately. Saw a player backtracking. He rotates back to A, and he is calling for support. Arcedes, though, clearly he knows he's there.
He saw him cross as well. Trophy will stop first as Envoy just surges forward. Shuts down accuracy. The trade was there, but Arcedes in his sniper rifle almost connects. Must be careful though. Tagged up. Weak may worry about the nade. Max actually found himself a double and has stayed alive. So this round, which looked as if it was going to be a simple one for the Huntsmen, not going to be the case. With 25 seconds left, they may start scrambling to plant, but temp will fall. Now Mac for the 1v3. Knows one player sniping, one on bomb. Should surely be just a few more moments before he drops.
He does have a sniper rifle, though. Has to get the player picked off of the bomb, and actually Gunless just able to run away. So now it's a 1v3. You got to deal with head glitches. You got to deal with RCD sniping in the back, and you can try to make the play, Ben, but I don't even have advice for you. Just accept your fate and go and die. And the Huntsmen with a nice bounce back round and another creative strat for them as well. Even on the first round that they lost, they had a very nice aggressive push on defense over towards A. They've shown a couple different looks, and this time a decisive round. You get the wrap back as quick as possible. You catch accuracy, the lone man who's defending for the moment, and make sure you secure the round. So good stuff from Chicago.
Fan of RC's and the sniper rifle. He had a lot of success in that round. Of course, he finds the final kill as well. Chicago tie things up 1 round apiece. That's the RC's a 3-1 start for him. We'll see back on the attack, the New York Subliners. You're eyeing up the A site. Keep your eye on number 3 on the minimap. That, of course, Temp is going to be playing a little bit on an island over towards B. Now there's not much happening at that site. It is New York flying towards A.
And Zuma, well, you know, you can fly and he can get shot down immediately. Was looking for Gunless, who's right next to him, and well, Mac will be the player that's able to find him.
He was looking for Scump, but wasn't the case. We'll find one, makes it a 4 versus 4. RC still snipe out here on the defense, and Mac, you're dancing with death. I'm gonna repeat that just yet. RC doesn't find the pick.
And the Subliners in an interesting spot because, yes, the bomb's towards A, but they do have 2 players that are kind of waiting for the rotation. Tap, he's just expecting someone to push through mid, but Huntsman not really taking the bait. And, of course, they know that Mac melts and the bomb should be over towards A, so Huntsman, they don't have to do anything different. RCs can sit there and hold the exact same angle.
They couldn't get the bomb actually out to rotate, so for them it was just try and bait it out. Won't be the case. Mac crosses the bomb. Surely he's been spotted. RCs can't find the angle just yet with the snipe. But, of course, worry about accuracy. Bottom ditch, and for now, New York up of just staying alive. 35 seconds. Finally, Arcees springs to life, but he will fall. And that leaves Envoy and Scump now up by themselves. Mac finds Envoy Scump for the 1v3. Just not gonna happen. New York, yes, they're backwards against the wall in terms of time, but they get the bomb down and clutch up big time.
And Mac frying in the end as well. Held back accuracy for the first kill on Arcees and gets the final 2 himself. Again, great series so far from the new man on the roster, and a great round as well. And so annoying for Arcees, right? The guy plants the bomb. You're just hoping that he's going to get up right away, run away, and hope he lives. Mac, he sat on bomb and laid down for, what, 15, 20 seconds, just waiting for the bait to come out effectively. And, well, he's got 6 kills to his name and just
it's just such a smart play, right? You don't want to give Arcees anything at all. By the time you've wasted 10 and 15 seconds, then of course accuracy gets the information, they double challenge and they find the pick, and from that point the round is pretty much over. New York in the driver's seat for now, but again, look for the Huntsmen to respond as they did on their last attacking round. But first blood comes through for attempt. Formal will fall. RC's looking to try and level it out with a sniper rifle. Scump as well. He'll push through the ravine. He's tagged up, has to back up.
Envoy, when that smoke clears, doesn't quite have the angle, but he knows the player's going to nearby, and accuracy apparently in the perfect spot.
That is just so...
He's so close. So close.
Oh, perfect for accuracy and terrible for Envoy. And accuracy will find one. Scump trades that out. Zuma looking to hit the flank as he so often has in his career. He'll find a pick and attach, feeling the pressure. Envoy left in a 1 versus 3. They have him basically trapped and dead to rights with just 24 seconds left. New York give themselves a 2-round cushion.
One of those fun situations where you're watching the first gunfight and accuracy gets the pick, but immediately traded out. And I'm like, well, you know, he did his job. The round's evened up. I see Zuma on the flank, and I was like, never mind. That's a GG. I'll see you in the next round because, again, Zuma, not one known for his flanks, almost always plays straight up. You'll never see any creative stuff, but occasionally he pulls something fancy out of the bag and just wins you the round by sneaking up on somebody.
And New York now with a 2-round cushion, 3 rounds to 1. Mac 6 and 3, double positive on the other side. You look at Formal 0 and 3 from the slow start. Scump also had a slow start, but he's turned things around in the last couple of rounds. 3 and 4 he sits at, but I mean, all eyes on Formal. That'll be number 6 on your mini map. He's playing outside B here, and actually may spot him. In fact, Zuma finds the first blood on Formal, and that B site is going to feel a lot of pressure very, very quickly.
A lot of pressure very quickly, and attach, of course, nothing coming on the flank for him. So he'll be effectively out of the fights just for a bit, which means everything is going down in around the site. Scump can see him through that garbled mess of whatever that is, and RC is going to be there for the follow-up. Makes the perfect read, and this looks like a nice, clean, comfortable round.
Just a great read from Chicago in general, right, of how New York was going to play that round. They have the resources at B ready and waiting. Almost falls for first blood, and instantly RCDs and Scump know they're going to have a lot of work to do, and I mean, they get the work done. Shadows in RC's favors there. That's his 3rd kill this round. Attach. Well, good luck. Have fun. 1v... okay. 1v3 with a sniper rifle, but surely no time and no way he wins that round. Chicago take it. Still New York with a 1-round lead.
And this is a very interesting situation in this game as well. You've seen quite a bit of creative stuff actually coming out of the Huntsmen, trying to mix up the strats as much as possible, because throughout at least towards the start of the year, S&D was actually their best game mode. Like, they were great at everything, obviously, but if you just look at purely the statistics, a little bit of an edge there. Subliners yesterday, they beat them on both the searches. And now we had a situation where they were up 3-1, New York's looking great, and it really might be the sort of situation where they stop winning the searches. All the teams start looking down the strats, figure out the Huntsman game plan, and then it's the classic steal a respawn, beat them in the search, and then you lose the first hard point, and then you actually start to get scared.
See, is in this round, it's first blood for Mac. He shuts down RCD's advantage. New York once again, but you can see the Huntsmen eyeing up the B site. They have a little bit of control, and already New York starting to rotate. That's a big win, though, from Envoy. As he shuts down Temp. That was New York's only resource inside B. The other 4 players are going to have to... Okay, accuracy. All right. You're just gonna wall bang that. That's A-okay. Makes it a 4 versus 3. Formal, Envoy, and Scump up on the back. You'll find one. Just needs to stay alive. Play time. Of course, that bomb planted. Just 25 seconds remain for the defuse to come through.
Scump, though, looking around back, a couple of the subliners really starting to work their way in. Pressure's on for these final fights, but again, 15 seconds, you have 6 people alive.
This, with Scump in that spot, there should be no way that a defuse even remotely can come through unless Zuma gets some great timing. He almost turns and burns, but Scump not letting it happen. Huntsman tied up 3 rounds apiece.
And that's just simply a time situation, right? They get the setup so clean after getting the defuse that you have to clear out everything. And even though accuracy, great vision, sees right through that wall. Not a problem for him. Even after getting that cheeky little wall bang, there still just wasn't enough pressure. And again, aggression has been key right now for the Huntsmen and their success in winning these rounds.
Accuracy, wall bang there. I was like, okay, maybe maybe this round it could get a little spicy, but either way, the Huntsmen close it out. The search tied up 3-3 as New York back on the attack. Max still leading the way in terms of kills at 7 and 5. Zuma right behind him at 6 and 4. And for New York, it looks like the A site is going to be the target of this first push. The smoke clears. Envoy will find Mac. However, the trade does come through. Zuma on gunless makes it a 4v4.
That's so confident from Envoy, just throwing down the smoke and saying, I dare you to come find me. But only able to find that kill on Mac. Arcides is there to help and make sure you have those man odds. Still, though, attached with the sniper. Can be deadly. And accuracy on the flank, only able to find one.
Tagged up. He knows the challenge is going to come through, but Scump being proactive. He'll find Zuma, and while attached with a sniper rifle, it's a 1v3 this time. Makes it a 1v2. Honestly, if he maybe gets a lucky bit of timing or something on his side here, it could be doable. Has bomb, of course. We'll find an AR on the floor, so not over yet. Of course, attach very much like Zuma, known for his search and destroy, known for his clutch plays. 1v2, of course, going to be very tough with just 20 seconds left. And I believe Scump just spotted his shadow. He'll have all the information. He knows he's at A. Now it's just about playing wide, finding a free kill, and closing out the round.
Nice play coming in from Scump, and does the nice thing and make sure that he lets the bomb get planted to give you a little bit of extra time to maybe regenerate some of that old dead silence. But either way, very patient play, doing the smart thing. As soon as attached, World Star, somebody hits a nice shot, I'm not challenging anything. I will sit here and wait patiently and just wait till the absolute last second to go and check the bomb. So expertly played by the King.
Really smart stuff. Of course, gets the shadow, gets the information, and from there, that round was done and dusted. Huntsman in the lead now for what I think is actually the first time here in Game 2. 4-3, 2 more rounds, of course, needed for them to close it out and tie up this series.
Of course, though, pressure's still on. Arklov peak, you expect it to be back and forth. Potentially a little bit of a favorite on one side or the other. Of course, though, back on the attack is going to be the Huntsmen, who have pulled out a couple different creative scenes. They've shown very aggressive B looks, I think, 2 rounds. They've shown A as well. And it looks like this time enough of a map spread that I'm expecting to just play for picks.
Arceus, that's the first blood. We'll find attach. Good little angle from him. Door opens, and he spot a second. Oh, we did, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to have that same look twice. But it is the Huntsman with numerical advantage. Actually watching that crossover towards B, but now at least Chicago's slowing down the game.
I was going to say, very patient play. They were playing for picks, and they don't change up the game plan. Gunless, though, spotted. The smoke through the map accuracy, he's going to have to know when Temp up top wins a big one-on-one to even up the odds. There's the pick from accuracy. Envoy, though, does get the trade.
Almost found himself, too, as RC's maybe looking at wall bangs.
Okay.
With it. Temp will fall. Enjoyed that kill cam. As Arceus makes this now a 3 versus 2. The Huntsmen, they'll still need to try and get that bomb down. This round definitely not over yet. If they want to, A is wide open, and maybe the game plan, as long as Gunless gets that message too. I thought for a second he may have just pushed B by himself, but back with some decent timing here. This could be bad for Chicago if Envoy falls and Mac is quick. Of course, he wants to wait for his teammate to try and hit this, but his teammate's still at B, still in no man's land, is essentially going to leave Mac isolated for a little bit, and Envoy will find the freest of free kills, and that now leaves Zuma with a 1v3.
Yeah, it's just hopeless. You got to check your corners or you get beat down. But a funny round because obviously a few rounds ago we saw accuracy, nice little wall bang, and RC just goes, oh, we're shooting through walls now. That's what we're doing. I'm going to one-up you and show you how it's done with the sniper rifle. But it's just kills like that. Not only do they give you confidence to let you start shooting bodies, but it also just helps, secure the round, which is important too.
Very important. The Shores. Now the Huntsmen with the 2-round cushion, and they've looked fantastic really throughout this entire game too. Troy not been the problem. Arstees leads the charge 10-5. Been a slow game from Formal and Gunless, both at 3 and 6, but Envoy and Scump 8 and 6 and 8 and 5 between the two of them. A pretty simple-ish search and destroy so far. Zuma though will find one. Envoy trades out a kill on the other side of the map. It's attempt the drop, and Envoy pushes all the way through. He wanted to find himself a double and gets it, but Attach doesn't even need time. He'll find himself a double with the sniper rifle. The first was so fast. I mean, you've seen what he can do with a sniper in his hand. Sort of a few rounds prior, and I mean, yes, if he's been left in a couple of 1v2s, 1v3s, but I mean, if you give him some time, he'll find a pick, and Arceus responds, finds a snipe on him himself.
And has his teammate underneath the site to work with as well. A fair bit of time for the Subliners, and it doesn't look like any dead silence on Mike Melts, obviously. He's got a trophy, but not going to help you here.
Down low. We'll spot Zuma, and you'll find that pick. Max with the trade makes it a 1 versus 1. Arstees still up, 19 seconds. Does Mac maybe even want to try and bait out the plant? High risk, high reward. Arstees was not heard when he fell. Mac's going to have advantage on looking through the window. Potentially turns around. Bad timing. Arstees surely should peek this. He'll find the kill, and the Huntsmen take game 2 very convincingly. 6 rounds to 3. They tie up this series 1-1.
And Arceus in that map 2 was there to take part and to take over. You talk about the turnaround. I was kind of confused. Like, it didn't seem like they had a lot of snipers out early on, and then we saw Attach start to pull one out, and Arceus again sees something that the other team does, says, I can do it better, and just starts lighting up. 12 kills he was able to finish with, and I have to imagine half of those came in the final 2 or 3 rounds.
Look at the difference in production between Arceus and the sniper rifle and Attach, and 2 very different stories, that's for sure. 12-5 from Arceus, as you mentioned. For Attach, 5 and 7. Of course, he gets 2 kills in that last round, so 3 and 7 going in. He got 1 kill in a 1v4. Wasn't necessarily the best overall performance despite his abilities with that weapon, but a fantastic game 2 from the Chicago Huntsmen. I mean, they're going to tie things up in this series 1 map apiece. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break with game 3 to see who is going to pull away and take the advantage.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Stay connected to what matters most with the best value in wireless.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This series just got interesting. Of course, this is our final series of the day. Chicago Huntsmen close out game 2 pretty convincingly, chance, if I'm honest. RC's with a fantastic performance. Of course, as I look at our social soundboard, being a Huntsman fan is an emotional roller coaster, man. Hashtag CDL 2020. I mean, yeah, I think it probably is, Chance.
Normally my favorite roller coasters have massive ups and downs. Again, the Huntsmen have been good the entire time. A 10-3 record. Yes, they've fallen short in 2 semifinals, but that is not the worst roller coaster to be on. There's a lot of success on this team.
Ups, very, very few downs. Of course, we've had a couple of series against Florida Mutineers and one yesterday against the New York Subliners, but falling here, of course, I'm sure it'll be very disappointing for so many fans. Here's a quick look at our tactical play there, presented by the U.S. Army. And some fantastic plays really throughout that entire search and destroy. You could pick so many of them from really both teams. But either way, series all tied up. 1-1, of course. Yesterday, Chance, this went to a Game 5. You feeling it might go to Game 5 here today as well?
Absolutely, there's the potential to. I'll say 85% chance it goes to the Game 5. Obviously, the biggest issue yesterday for the Huntsmen was the search and destroy. They, not fix their mistakes. They got a new map in as well and looked very good on that. And I will say, again, to their credit, they have shown different strategies. Almost every single round, it seems like cheeky little spots here, 2-man going through no man's land, and then it doesn't hurt when RCD starts sniping everything inside as well. But they've been creative. It looks like they've, at least in the pick and bans, made improvements from yesterday. So I'm definitely feeling a lot more comfortable for the Huntsmen than I was maybe after that hard point. But obviously New York has been a threat. The domination yesterday, I think, was like a 6-point game. So you expect them to be toe-to-toe.
All right. Well, yesterday, as you mentioned, very close Game 3. When we have similar things here, I mean, get underway. And we're going to start off on board with the Huntsmen. And for me, I'm looking at Envoy. Obviously, you heard Rich mention it, and just how kind of a slow performance he had yesterday. I mean, he's been so good for the Huntsmen throughout the entirety of the CDL. That's a great start as well from not only him, but also Scump. He'll find himself a double. Huntsman with full control over B, and Envoy just swept so many players from New York. He didn't even know who to shoot at, but he's done fantastic just to stay alive.
Able to stay alive and help his team again. Getting that B flag off the rip is oh so key. And the Huntsmen, they want to run this up as much as possible and build yourself a lead. You got the favored flags for the moment, but the subliners, you can see 4 or 5 guys, or at least 4, trying to pour on the pressure over towards the B flag. Need to find themselves from killing. Who else but the Italian Stallion, Ben, one of the best players in the world, to immediately get shut down.
We'll find Arceus with his nade. Simple trade as B goes back in favor of the New York Subliners. A minute gone. Close game thus far. Just a 5-point advantage for the Huntsmen as that looks to try and slide straight through. Of course, if you're on the New York side of things here, you want to push through, want to control that A-B flag and force the Chicago spawn out towards C.
Nice stun combination coming in from Scump, though, to open up top L, but he gets traded before he can get in the power position. And now you got all the pressure in the world from the subliners, just trying to flood this B flag, and they're able to find a couple kills in a row, start making their way over towards A. But you got to wait for the kills to come to you before that. And Zuma, well, playing the cheeky spot while his teammate Temp goes and kills everything inside.
Definitely makes it a little easier. Temp is going to find one more. That's Gunless that drops. Now New York holding on to B and holding on to a very, very small 4-point lead. Temp's not done just yet, though. He'll find one more. That's Scump, and that's the opening New York needed to push in towards A.
3 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. It is, what, a 6-point game at the moment. We will see what the subliners are able to do with this small advantage and see if they can run the score up as much as possible. You got Temp able to capture A. All the pressure in the world on him as he is getting surrounded, and Scump is able to pick up 2 to clean him up. But again, this is, what, 3:06 at a 4-point game. We are getting a little bit close to about a 15, so not a bad turnaround.
For now, New York in the driver's seat for how long? As Envoy get the assist on that fight, Mac will drop and he starts to be neutral. And it may actually go in favor of the Huntsmen if they can just stay alive. A couple more fights that need to be won. Zoomer caught one of them. Nice play from Envoy. Methodical finds the gunfight, and he's going to find Mac as well mid-map. And that nice lead from New York may disappear before the end of this half.
Envoy had a bunny hop so clean it looked like he was gliding on my screen just for a moment. So movement on point, shots on point. We'll see if they can hold the flag as well. Attaching Zuma though, the old duo trying to break their way through. Envoy though, he's going to be there to shut down at least one of them. But now Zuma has cracked through the enemy lines, trying to make the break over towards Zach.
6-43, trip cap could be coming in for the Huntsmen. All the hard work from the New York Subliners just unwound in a blink of an eye. As New York really going to start to struggle. You see the minimap though, he is open, so they maybe ought to cap that big gunfight one though over towards C. It was Temp that shut down Scump, and they're not going to let this game spiral out of control, but either way, Huntsmen have done well to close the gap.
Close the gap, yes, but at the same time, again, the early good start that the Huntsmen had, for them to not have the lead is not a very good sign. Again, they had the AB flag set up very early on, but the pressure game from the Subliners has just been overwhelming. And again, the pressure's there. You get far enough through B, you force the spawn out over towards C, and then you get the AB flag set up. And more importantly, Temp is actually holding on to C as well. They're going to have potentially a triple cap, or at least the neutralization over by C to extend the lead.
And that's so smart from Temp, just to go for the neutral and just run away, right? Recognize the situation, and now of course as C is capped up, all the hard work that New York had has essentially come back in their favor as they hold a 2-1 flag advantage with just 45 seconds left in this first half. Chicago Huntsmen, they did it once. Can they do it again before the end of the half?
And right now the Huntsmen, though, again, just in a bit of a bad spot. You get a little bit of clearance over towards B, and it looks like number 3, Envoy, might actually be able to get A as well, so try to get that damage mitigation in the final seconds. Envoy not likely to get challenged. You can see New York trying to float over towards this B flag. They clear it post-neutralization. Now you just got bodies all over the map.
Yeah, it's just turns to chaos pretty
Try to
much
evaluate
for
that.
the final 30 seconds. In terms of stats from the first half, Envoy, I really highlighted him at the very beginning. Hasn't disappointed at 15 and 12. A good first half, but overall it's the New York Subliners going into the second half with the advantage. Their lead currently sits at what, 84 to 66, I think, as the final ticks came through. So an advantage, sure, but chance it's by no means a comfortable one. I mean, we saw the Huntsmen basically come back from a lead similar to that right about the 3-minute mark.
Oh, sure. Yeah, 18, 20 points, whatever it is, nowhere near chalked, especially on a map like this where triple caps can happen at the drop of a dime. But I will say, the Subliners, again, just the pressure game that they had that entire half was too much because the Huntsmen were in a great spot, but then they were always just turtled up in their base, getting run over, spawning out. They never found their footing, and the Subliners, again, we saw the aggression from the Subs in the first map. It was great there, and it looks like it's great now.
It's the Huntsmen that are trailing here, 84 to 66. Big advantage of the New York Subliners as they also come out on top of the opening break. This seems like a perfect time now to open Astro Gaming listening to the Chicago Huntsmen.
Zoom mid crates on
Middle.
Getting top L.
Getting top L right now.
Top L, because
Top L weak.
Zoom
One bullet. One bullet
Catwalk
top
too,
L.
catwalk.
slow down, work with each other.
One's really weak.
I have
Top L,
top L,
guys.
we have top L, hang on.
And
Top
we're
L.
inside. And we're inside.
I'm watching
Top
the
L,
music. Top L
top
right now.
L, guys, he's going to the right.
Top L.
One
Got
guy,
him. Got him. Top L.
I'm in B still. I'm in B
Top L.
still.
Zuma. Zuma weak. Really
Top
weak
L,
grenade.
he jumped out.
One's cat top out. Cat top out.
Oh.
Not low L.
Here,
I'm just
guys,
one to the right.
work up middle. We can work up middle. They think we're doing Elson
Yeah,
right
I need
now.
that.
He's third, guys.
Yeah, work up middle here. Work up middle.
Don't need to
Just
beat
trap
it.
him.
I got him.
Good job.
One
On
more
top L
L
still.
Top L Zuma.
I spawn green.
Alright, how do you guys want to break this? Guys, I
One
pushed
is up
through
middle.
P1.
One is up middle.
I
guys.
can open
One
green.
shot
I'm
cop.
going
One shot cop.
top green.
Hit
Top
the
green.
green. Hit the
So
green.
you think middle?
Top green.
Car.
CP3?
Top
me top L. Top L. Top L Zuma.
Top car,
Mac,
top
absolute,
car,
absolute.
Mac.
Top L Zuma.
What's
Perfect.
bottom
Good up too.
Donnie,
Bottom
top
A,
L.
last guy. I spawn C. Green spawn's good.
Top L. Top L.
He
Yeah,
got me
top
in
L.
it. Got me in it.
Middle one shot.
We got gonna be.
1v1 a day. You guys should flood B right now.
Trying to get top L.
Spawning green.
Top L
Spawning green.
Zuma.
Spawning
Dad.
green.
Got him.
Go. Which one?
They're
Top
door
Top
dead.
L. I have top L.
I need their
I'm
door.
gonna get the mic. I have one
What's
one
mid?
shot.
Top ACs.
Just cap it.
Top L. Top L got me. Attach hitting top L right now. 4. Good job.
I need it. Watch out.
Done it.
Oh, they're gonna go.
Pick
They
up
might go
change.
see.
Yeah, they might go C. I spoke
I'm
their
looking.
door.
I'm looking C cross.
Top
Top
lane
C.
right now.
We went up with
Looking
2
AC.
guys. Remember that. I'm looking C cross.
I have
I'm
AC
watching
right
your
now.
cat. I'm watching your
Go.
cat.
Watching bottom L. Yeah,
Not
top
the C
L's
cross.
open,
Not the
right?
C
No,
cross.
I'm top L. I'm top L.
They're taking their time.
We're taking the time like heavy.
Cat Donnie.
Their door.
Donnie,
Donnie.
Donnie, Donnie,
Minutes
Donnie,
remain here in game
copy
3
three
of
now.
the New York
Keep their door, one
Subliners
shot
with
their
the
door,
advantage.
I got one their door.
123
Mid stacks. Mid stacks.
hold it
Two,
under
two
a
guys.
very
One
fragile
is
lead, but it was the Huntsmen The 2-1 flag advantage until C has just been neutral. This is where, again, Chance, things could get very chaotic on that minimap.
And you just have Attach winning that 1-1, making that overextension towards the C flag. So Attach right now by himself at C. He has 3 teammates just solely responsible for guarding this A flag, but the Huntsmen pouring on the pressure. Now you got players wrapping from every direction, but it looks like the Huntsmen at least have a body on the flag just to get that neutralization tempo for the challenge. Important gunfight does not win it. So a nice little bounce back for the Huntsmen, but still, because of the annoying play from Attach going for C, it is a 30-point game.
And despite all that hard work, the lead remains the same as B once again under fire. The Huntsmen with that in control. So 2-1 flag advantage for the Huntsmen, and again they can work their way at that 26-point lead for the New York Subliners. This is where you can almost play that rotation game. And you don't get trapped at the back of the map, which is where the Huntsmen are putting a lot of pressure on. I know for them, they'd definitely prefer to just neutralize C, keep A and B for as long as possible. That's what Formal's doing. Potentially just trying to block that spawn on that A flag. He's going to have a lot of work to do if anyone decides to push across. His teammate's still spawning on him. So for now, Huntsman doing everything right, but they only have a minute and a half left, Chance, and they're down 20 points.
I was going to say, if my math is right, they're literally like 6 or 7 seconds off of being able to hold this 2-cap to win the game. They're going to have to neutralize or get the triple cap just for a moment. They got a lot of time to make this happen, but the Subliners, of course, their goal, neutralize a flag for, again, 6 or 7, or just make sure you hold on to C, but this is the play. Gun this over towards C. This will be the neutralization, if not just the cap, but his teammates have to defend B as well.
The key fight really is what's going on at B, and it's Envoy in a 1v2. He's not able to get the job done. Mac finds the pick. C was capped up, and B has not been capped by New York yet. So for now, Huntsman doing a good job at bringing themselves back into this game, down by 10 points. Scump up top, trying to defend B. Teammates win that fight. Chicago, they've done it, Chance. They've put themselves in the spot now where they can potentially win this map.
Pretty sure if they can win it, if they just hold the 2-cap, you got 40 seconds left, only 8 points down. They're going to chip away every 5. It's going to be close, though. Pressure on the Subliners to try to make the play, get over towards the flag, and look how many players are there. It's Formal by himself around this B point. He gets dealt with the Subliners. You just got to hop on it, just get that neutralization.
Temp was so disciplined, allowed his teammate to neutral it by himself as he looked to try and slay just a 4-point game as Temp knows players are going to be in front of a team kill. It's Mac that shuts him down. C is now decapped, 16 seconds on the clock, still a 4-point game. Scump now pushing over towards B. That should be neutral. Zuma wins a fight. More chaos ensues. 2-point game. How many ticks are we going to see come through? Well, New York, they don't have a hill. Chicago Huntsmen, they've stolen game 3 right from underneath the New York Subliners. 158, 156. Everyone at the very end of that game from the Chicago Huntsmen clutches up big time, all winning their crucial 1v1s. And because of that, they get the trip cap right at the very end. And you can see from the players, that is good vibe city right there. Scump on his feet.
And shout out Arcides as well. Obviously, there was a ton of chaos towards the end. There's a lot of good plays from a lot of different players on both sides of the aisle. But it was Arcides at the end who picked up 3. Like, he had that one-on-one gunfight over on the B flag where he was one shot, wins it against whoever that was. Then I looked at the kill feed. He had killed 2 just before that. So I don't know what he pulled off at the end to make sure that he could get the B flag in the final seconds, but massive plays there.
Well, Chance, that got very chaotic towards the end, and we're no stranger to close dominations and crazy endings, but I do want to take a look at kind of the last 30 seconds and kind of give you time to really digest exactly what happened and maybe just kind of break things down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rewatch it. I think the 2-monitor setup is killing me right now. I need to figure out how HDMI cables work, but either way, just insane stuff towards the end, and that is the ultimate thing of, like, it is never chalked. I mean, sometimes it's mathematically impossible, but they went at that half down, what, 18, 20 points, whatever it was. And they spent 2 minutes, by the way, just getting bullied by the Subliners. Every time they tried to overextend and capture A, the push got stuffed. Eventually, though, fighting tooth and nail, broke through on that B flag, and then just held the advantage the remainder of the time. Dealt with the chaos perfectly. Had Gunless making big plays over at the C flag to get the neutral or the cap. Just great stuff all the way around. Just a tough team.
And one interesting thing is, I mean, look at the cam there from Mac. Obviously, you see the team kill that came through. He naded out. Temp ran straight into the nade. That could be a deciding factor as to really why they lost full control over the B flag. Either way, for Chicago Huntsman fan, you don't really care all that much because that was the steal of the century. Temp went, I believe, was at 26 and 15. He had a great performance, but again, doesn't matter. The final few seconds, it's the Chicago Huntsmen that steal game 3. And now heading into game 4, a hard point on St. Petro chance. I mean, you got to feel great in terms of the confidence here for the Chicago Huntsmen.
Absolutely. I mean, again, this is why the talk of like roster swaps and any of that I'm seeing is just like absurd to me. I'm like, this team is insanely good. And even when other teams start to make improvements, it's endings like that of like, this is the type of thing that all the players on the Huntsmen are capable of doing time and time again. And yes, other teams do have those factors of play as well, but not many of them have it straight across the board because anyone can make the big play, whether it's Gunless doing the smart thing for the OE or whether it's RC just picking up 3 towards the end or Envoy or Scump or the entire game, whatever it's going to be. They're just incredible players. It's a really good team, a 10-3 record. I don't understand the negative. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay.
Again, I'm just going from what RC's himself kind of said and the vibe that he was kind of giving off, if you will. I know.
No, that's fair.
Again, to reiterate, for him, they should be beating absolutely everyone, right? The fact that they lost to Florida, he's not happy about that. And then, of course, losing to New York Subliners yesterday, he's definitely not happy about. But they look for redemption today. And Chance, kind of to your point, right? All those conversations disappear if they go ahead and defend their city and win this weekend.
Yeah, and 2 things on that as well. Obviously, the city thing is important, but RC should have that mentality. Like, the players I want to be negative. If you start losing a series, you got to kick it up a notch because that's, like, the competitive mentality. I'm just saying, like, fans that are like, we need to drop player X or Y or whatever. That's the part where I just, I don't follow suit with that. That's too far for me. But, again, RC's champion mentality for a great reason. Man's a world champ at this point as well. And then, of course, you talked about the storyline of getting the revenge. Obviously, the Subliners beat the Huntsmen yesterday. Their Twitter account was very happy to roast the Huntsmen fans, roast the casters, roast everyone involved, roasting the game, too. Like, the Subliner, that Twitter account just does not care. But now, of course, the Huntsmen 1 map away from hitting the retweet button. Be like, GG, guys. You guys... fantastic.
New York Subliners social media manager sweating right now. He's getting ready to hit the block button a fair few times when this series is over. If, of course, Chicago
the Huntsmen fans will be super kind. They won't let them know. They won't respond to any of the tweets. It'll be very.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it will. Chance is.
Or in fairness, the Subliners have been fantastic. They destroyed FaZe earlier on this exact map. The series, by no means over.
True.
But if
I just feel like game 3 there is a big momentum swing and really a massive steal from the Chicago Huntsmen. Gunless starts off with a double kill. Temp responds with a double of his own, though. So even Stevens to start things off. Of course, it is the Huntsmen, though, on the preferred side to start things off.
And what a beautiful setup as well, in and around the point. Arcees was the lone man inside the hill, and he had Envoy originally for the cover. That is 3 players effectively for the Huntsmen that were just locking down spawns. 2 guys really just on the point by themselves. They made the play. And I was going to say they might be able to keep the spawns. There's players right now for the Subliners trying to be a little bit sneaky.
Yeah, there's a little flank that came through, and Envoy, I think he knows Zoomer's up top, and unless, meanwhile, he's going to rotate over towards P2. He gets that information. The kill should come through shortly. He doesn't even need to do it. Formal cleans him up. A great start here for the Huntsmen.
And that looked like really good communication from the Huntsmen as well. You see Gunless sliding around, checking corners. I would have to imagine the comms are, we don't know where Zuma is. We have to find him now. So checking everything in sight. As soon as he gets taken down from top blue, Gunless is like, all right, I know my job. Let's go take care of the right side of the map for the push. And, well, the Huntsmen, yes, they're down by 4, but the perfect setup for the moment.
Close game starting to develop as the Chicago Huntsmen have control of spawns, and we know this hill specifically can be so tough to break. I want to send it over to an Astro Gaming listener, the New York Subliners.
Front door dead. They missed P1. I'm sitting in a corner up here, top bar, okay? Bottom blue, bottom blue, bottom blue, one blue. Bottom blue, one blue, guys. Top bar, dead. Bottom blue. Front door dead. Nice, good shit. One more, mid-street, bottom bar, mid-street, Gunless is hitting old. Get out from front. Hey, get all this time. I'm stunning your front door. Front door stun, I need a front door. Don't get hit by it. Officer front. Front dead. Office dead. Good job, Mike. I got this time.
I got one through. I'm going through.
Good job. Just play the hill. Fuck the spawns.
Police car, Pierce.
We need bodies in the hill. Fuck the spawns. Blue van, Pierce. Blue van dead.
Good job.
Rubbing out P1. Go big, they popping. Come on.
Back.
There's two. Lion Pierce, hitting out L wall, our side water. He's dead,
Nice job.
Coming with you guys. Get top red window real quick. Top right window, Alec weak. I need to do water. I'm gonna trophy this for you guys, hold on.
Main deep water, main deep water.
Okay, get out
I
left. We gotta get
tried to
kills. We
get
can get out left. We gotta get kills here. They needed to smoke on one shot hill.
One shot on
Alex was top unless we killed him.
Bathroom in the hill.
Up top, oh shit, that's you top.
Head dead.
Still top, still top.
I shot one of that guy.
Mid and on top.
He ran
jumped
out, he ran out.
He went
I'm looking
line.
water, I'm looking water.
Line, line,
window,
line,
window.
Yeah, I
Elbow,
got
elbow.
one. Alright, they got out. We're
Nice.
good though. This is a good time.
He's
Might need
low.
help water.
He's going right street.
Miss
Don't let him
Miss
break
Miss
it. Don't let him break it. I'm stunning your window.
Hit a CL.
He's
I didn't stun
fucking
him.
on me, B-Dom. B-Dom Pierce.
Alright, sit out.
Nothing gate, nothing gate, nothing
Mystery
gate.
Pierce, Mystery Pierce. You're cutting me off P1.
Help
Right
each
at
other
the
get
end of the
out.
train.
Go top red.
He's at the end of the train right here by CL, guys.
And they did. Take your time, man. Take your time. Get in time.
Close.
Deep out. Alright, good win, good win.
Middle map,
I need
middle
to
map,
keep
RC, middle map,
I'm going
RC.
top.
B-Dom.
Okay.
B-Dom.
I got it.
They're
One
shooting
top
me
left.
over here.
I'm going top. I'm going top. Top max.
Line,
It's
Alex. Alex on the line.
Top
guys.
bar. What is top
Beat
bar,
on,
dude?
beat on,
Line,
beat on,
to the
line.
56 is the New York Subliners.
Line,
With
go
the
step,
here
go
as
step,
we
go
rotate
step.
now.
Go
to
top
full
one out,
hold.
go top one out. He's
Chicago
absolute
Huntsmen
now.
ready and
Looking for
waiting.
top bar,
Nice.
top
And
bar,
the
really weak.
Subliner push.
I don't see something
As
now,
we
I'm
saw
going
in the
back.
series prior to this one, Chance, just how this map can be so back and forth. You really expect Huntsman to tie it up and maybe even go into the lead here.
It's fairly interesting decision making from the Subliners as well. We heard in the listen accuracy just repeatedly saying we need to hold this, need to hold this. I look at the time, 17 seconds left to scrap. Then you look at the mini map and there was no hope of anyone sneaking through to try to win that rotation. So he says, look, we need to make sure we guarantee all this time. Don't make any mistakes. Lock down, get those 17 seconds, and then we can go for the break of the team. So instead of just throwing KS at the wall, they just make the safer play, potentially smarter play as well. Of course, though, it does mean the pressure's on to try to get the break. And of course, over a pool hall, incredibly difficult.
Yeah, you invite a lot of pressure and you have to kind of stop that momentum as Envoy starts to heat up. He almost found himself another 3 in quick succession. Almost trying to pinch. He'll be unsuccessful. Now it's Scump's turn to trade. There's one. Matt drops. Accuracy almost falls as well, but he's done well to stay alive, but it doesn't matter. Huntsman just with more numbers. They win the trade game and they win the rotation.
Trade game rotation and well taking over that lead as well, trying to bump the numbers up just a little bit more. RC's inside the hill, not shying away from making the big play, and maybe a little bit of pressure on. He's got Gunless for the help. Gunless can find 2. RC's can't find anything. Obviously does a ton of damage before he
Not the greatest nade there from Scump, but he slides away, finds Mac anyway. He needs to wait for his teammates and of course wait for that health regen. Huntsman back inside the hill and back in control. Of course, you can see already New York Subliners, they've rotated towards P1, but it is still the Huntsman in control of the spawns. Try number 1, that's going to be formal. He wants to lock down pool hole, he wants to lock down the right side of the map.
Yeah, he is in the exact spot where his one job is straight beams. Don't dock, stay up top, kill everything in sight. If we have enough pressure on the backside, then you can start to rotate towards the hill, but this is the one man that doesn't need to overcommit. He does fall, but of course you see the spawns should still be coming in favor of the Huntsmen, who actually spawn out a little bit towards the top.
Yeah, they're fine for now, though. New York is still spawning out. And as this thing stands, it's Huntsman inside the hill. Plenty of time left, of course, on P1, but if Huntsman can get all this time and hold the spawn, they're going to be in such a good spot to potentially close this map out. Formal, a slow start to the game. 6 and I believe that's 12 on the other side of things. A slow game from Attach at 9 and 14. Things going well here for the Huntsmen, despite Formal with a slow start.
And it's interesting as well because it's actually been the first hill that has been on point for the Huntsmen. Of course, last time around, they were able to get the full setup on P2, but they did not hold it for very long. This time, you still have 10 seconds on P1. That is an absurd amount of time on this first hill for the Huntsmen to get while they are potentially winning the rotation battle. So you talk about an important moment for the Subliners. They need to break and get these spawns for
They
P2.
have to do it quickly, and actually will find one, but it's Huntsman dealt with a lot of resources on the backside of the map as RC's now slide forward. This is such a crucial part in the game here for the Huntsmen. If they can lock in a lot of this time, they are in such a good spot to close out this map, close out this series. Don't even let it go to a game 5 and get sweet, sweet revenge from the New York Subliners after losing to them yesterday.
Losing to him yesterday and 70 points away. It's looking like the opposite story. Redemption may be in line. 10th though with a nice gunfight win, but 25 seconds. The Subliners are just trying to force it through the one side door. And boy, at this point, not even worried about it. He'll happily trade away these 20 for them to get the rotation because you have Scump, by the way, all the way in the back of the spawns for the rotation. It is an 80-point game, Ben. The Huntsmen win the rotation to the next hill. It is not impossible, but almost so for the Huntsmen.
And that was such a smart decision from Scump because he had an option where he could have just pushed towards the old hill and just kind of flown straight at it, played for that scrap time. Instead, does the right thing, disciplined play, puts himself at the back of the map, makes sure he locks in the spawn for the new hill, recognizing I don't need to play a 50-50 for scrap. Instead, I can basically try and ensure the game win here. They might not win mathematically on this hill, but so much damage has been done on this second rotation. The P1 hold was fantastic. They held spawns for P2, and Scump making that play towards P3 is absolutely huge. I mean, the time they've already got on the first 50% of this hill, massive.
Still, though, great aggression right now from the Subliners. 30 seconds left on this hard point, and they should be able to clear-cut, win the rotation over towards next. So they are going to want to hold these final 20 seconds again. An incredibly important amount of time. If they don't get it, they just need to make sure the Huntsmen don't. And of course, on the rotation, the Huntsmen actually are going to spawn right in the back, and that's one of those things that might just seal the deal.
Yeah, you hate to see that if you're a New York Subliner fan. You thought that maybe you had him pinned to the back of the map with accuracy spawning there now. I know full well Huntsmen are on the pool side of the map, and this again could be where they close things out. Just 30 more points needed, 56 seconds available time on pool hole, and the Huntsmen have soared towards mid-map. They want to find the cutoff. They want to make sure they don't even let New York get to the hill. But to New York's credit, they're slaying out.
I didn't see exactly how those spawns came in towards the end. I don't know if a route man is getting paid a little bit extra, but either way, it looks like the Huntsmen Gunless did get through. And again, we saw it on the previous hill as well. Scump, that was the route man in that situation, taking their turns and Formal, able to find two. 11 seconds in this game will be the Huntsmen, but to the New York Subliners' credit, fighting tooth and nail.
Gunless watching the cross, unfortunately for him. Matt got through. Arcees could still win this game here. He finds a couple of kills and his teammates are there. That could be it. New York Subliners need a contest, and I don't think anyone is realistically close enough. Envoy knows he can push out. There's still players from Chicago inside the hill. Arcees blocking the door with his knife out. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be that. Chicago Huntsmen get their revenge, and I'm sure they're ready and waiting on social media. New York Subliners fans, time to go into hiding.
I mean, all right, there's two ways to look at this from the Subliners. One is, of course, you only had 10 CDL points coming into the weekend. You finally win your second match. You get really happy. I understand. It's the first time you've experienced joy in quite some time, so you throw on Twitter just a little bit, and of course, did not pay off in the end because you walk away with only 20 CDL points. But the flip side of that is the team genuinely did look a lot better than they have in the past. They had a lot of crazy maps because keep in mind, that is literally the toughest bracket you could possibly have of having to go through.
It really
FaZe.
was.
And then the Huntsmen as well. So I'm very impressed with the Subliners team, if not their social media account, but they look fantastic. Mac Meltz is an individual as maybe not been on point, but has exceeded my expectations. In all the chatter I've heard about the Subliners team looking a lot better with them seems to be accurate. So they impressed me.
All smiles there, of course, on the Chicago Huntsmen side of things. But I think you're absolutely right. Just to kind of talk New York Subliners, yes, they lose this series, but overall, looking good, showing signs of improvement. And I mean, if you're a Subliner fan, I think Mac has shown you, a ton really in every single game mode that you've watched him play. Has the potential to maybe turn around the tide for the New York Subliners. But for Chicago, it's happy days. They'll make it through to tomorrow, of course, Championship Sunday, where they'll fight again and try and defend their city champ.
Defend their city and try to be the second team to do so. And again, the redemption story potentially set in stone of being the next team to win that home series event. So impressive stuff for the Huntsmen. Nice little bounce back. A lot of great plays the whole way around. Again, Arcees was on point the entire series, coming up clutch when he needed to. Envoy was Envoy, and everyone pretty much did their jobs. They swapped those roles back. They're right into that.
Of course, it's not going to be easy, though. You look at who is, of course, still left in the competition. Tomorrow, the Chicago Huntsmen, I believe they've drawn Dallas Empire. On the other side of things, Atlanta FaZe versus Seattle Surge. I mean, we talk about the big boys, right? The big boys' chance that they're all alive and well in this tournament.
And that's an interesting match, actually, the Empire versus Chicago, just because we have a couple of like those boogeyman matchups, like Seattle. Obviously they have the Guerrillas number.
From Florida.
Florida that apparently have the Huntsmen. Yeah, you have so many of those, and then I'm pretty sure the Huntsmen 3-0 against the Empire. So, yeah, those are two heavy hitters, but it still might be the Huntsmen boogeyman.
Could be. We will, of course, wait and see what tomorrow has in store. But as a way of closing out today, we had two fantastic series. Of course, it would have been nice to see that one maybe go to a game 5, but it doesn't matter. Huntsmen, they lock it down in game 4.
Lock it down, and again, just nothing but positive things to say. I want to say the record overall is 11-3, something to that effect. So we expect them to be one of the best teams in the game at the start of the year. They have not disappointed in that category. Of course, the fans, they don't like the losses in the semifinals, so they are obviously going to be rooting for their team to get the win this time.
Just make it to the final at least, right? Give yourself a chance of defending your city. As you mentioned, we've only seen it happen once so far this season. That was, of course, Atlanta FaZe. Chicago in a good spot to potentially do it. Yeah, I mean, you fancy them statistically, of course, against Dallas tomorrow, to your point.
And that's the, by the way, that's the matchup I want to see. I forgot about this talking point for a while. We've been
We've
wanting
wanted to
to
see
watch
this for a while.
Chicago play FaZe for the longest time. And like, if we don't get it at this tournament, then I'm gonna be so sad. What if we go the entire year and then it's your champs finals? Ooh, what if?
That could be a pretty awesome
Or not.
storyline, but I think for the fans, they probably want to see it now. And I mean, we at least
Sooner
get to
better,
see it
sooner
tomorrow,
better,
right, for a semifinal. That's exciting stuff. But of course, that game over. We'll go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, though, we'll have the PlayStation instant reaction with someone from the Chicago Huntsmen. We'll be right back after this.